So, what is compression strength? In its simplest form, compression strength is the ability to close the angle in the front of the hip. This can be done sitting, lying on our backs, standing, or from a hanging position. It's also something that we use with day-to-day movements like taking a step forward, walking up the stairs, or going for a run. So the ability to lift our leg up and then step forwards is using the same muscles, the same flexion of the hip as we do with compression strength. So having good compression strength is important not just for our aerial skills, but also for our health and longevity, being able to stay mobile and strong as we age. This program teaches you how to train compression strength in isolation. It teaches you how to train it as part of full body movements and skill movements on the floor. And it teaches you how to train compression strength as part of a hang. So, moving the exercises into the air and understanding how to lift our legs up while also utilizing our core, our pelvis, and our upper body strength to support the hang. We, of course, need to understand how to lift and maneuver our legs in the air for more advanced aerial skills, things like inverts, meat hooks, or beats, anything where we're working on lifting the legs up towards our body. We want to be able to compress at the hip to do this, and we want to be able to compress at the hip alongside moving other parts of our body as well. So this program is really designed to give you the stepping stones that you need to work towards that. My goal is that you'll come away from this program understanding exactly what you specifically need to strengthen your hip flexors, to strengthen your compression, so that you can improve what you're doing in the air. I'm excited to share that my compression strength program has been updated. It is now available with 50% off. It's the lowest price it will be for a while. The link is in the description if you want to check it out and sign up. And in the meantime, enjoy some of my tutorials that give you an idea of the kind of exercises included in the program. So we're going to have a look at 90-90 compression lifts. So this is an exercise that is based off of this hip mobility drill, which is called 90-90, because we should have 90-degree angles in the backs of our knees and our hips, and we are moving from one side of the body to the other. So the way we incorporate compression into this and make this more challenging is by lifting the legs off the floor. And the reason why I like this is because we're working on compression laterally, because that's the way that our legs are traveling, but we're also moving from different positions of the hips, right? So we're not just working on compression through this plane, we are working on compression through a whole bunch of different hip positions. So the full version is sitting up. We're going to tip back onto our bum, and my core is engaged, so I'm in a hollow position. I want to try and lift and then pull my knees up, so I'm compressing to hold this position. And then I want to come into the 90-90 on the other side and put my legs down. I'm trying to avoid this, where I sort of fall back into the 90-90 position, and I'm trying to control it myself. So you can see everything is as controlled as I can make it. If flexibility is limiting you, or you don't yet have the strength for this, the way that I recommend working on it is just placing your hands either side of your hips, so you can lean back and push against the ground with your arms, lift up, compress, bring your legs across and swap and put them back down. So this helps stabilize the movement, right? Because I'm not having to balance, I can control it a bit better. And if you find that reaching the floor tips you too far back and is very uncomfortable, use yoga blocks. So you can place some blocks behind your hips. That will keep you a little bit more upright if you need to. So we're just working on it like this. We're going to have a look at the compression V-sit. So we've got normal V-sit sitting on the floor. we're going to make it a little bit more challenging and more specific to compression strength training by using a block. So I recommend to start with playing about with which way to place the block. So it might be that doing it like this feels like you haven't got the flexibility. Turning it like this might allow you to give it a bit more of a squeeze, and it doesn't require as much flexibility. So play with which position you want to put the block in between your torso and your thighs. You can also do this with your hands on the floor behind you to help with balance if you need to. So a nice way to progress it is set up the block, put your hands behind you, come into a tuck, straighten your legs. Oh, my block just slipped. We'll try it like this. So using my hands, and then I don't have to worry about balance. But if that feels all right, I can come into my V-sit position. Just really think about trying to squeeze the block towards you. It should feel more challenging than a regular V-sit because you're actively trying to pull your thigh up towards your stomach because you've got this prop that you can squeeze really hard against. So we're going to look at compressing one hip at a time while hanging, but with assistance. So we're keeping feet on the floor. So this is more to start working on building body awareness as well as some strength in terms of compressing out the hip and being really active through the front of the hip, but while in a hanging position. And this is really nice to do keeping one foot on the floor because it makes it a little bit less effort in terms of the actual hang. You can make sure that you're in a really comfortable and supported position with your hang. Make sure that all of the muscles in the upper body are engaged correctly. And then we're going to use the block to create feedback. Now, blocks don't work for everybody because different body shapes, different proportions can impact how an object will fit in this part of the body between the thigh and the stomach. So if you try this with a block and it keeps slipping out, you can use something smaller like a ball, or you can use something that's fabric. It's basically just having the physical cue to press against. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to rest the block between one thigh and my stomach. I'm going to come and hang on the bar. The hanging position that I want is to come into a long 2-arm hang. And then I want to think about rotating my armpits towards each other because that engages the lats in the upper back in a really safe and effective way. I'm then going to squeeze the block on one side of the body at a time. So we're really trying to work on creating that connection between compressing in the front of the hip and being in an active hang. So I'm gonna hold onto the bar, put the block here, 2-arm hang. I'm gonna come into a long arm position. I'm gonna rotate my my armpits towards each other so that my hang is nice and active. And then I'm gonna try and squeeze as I keep that active hang. And then I'm super supported and stabilized by the spare leg. So I can really focus on that muscle engagement without having to worry about like my grip going or my shoulders going. So we'll do the other side. Coming into my hang. So my pelvis is tucked under. I'm in a posterior pelvic tilt. And I'm really squeezing the thigh in towards my stomach, creating that tension, building more control and awareness and strength in that position.